Hey, welcome back to today's video. We're going to have a look at the weather for the next 8 to 10 days in today's video, which will be taking us quite towards the end of the month, really, to around the 24th, 25th of October. So we're getting right towards the final stages of the month, getting well on into the autumn now. Of course, very delayed autumn after the dry and very warm September, but autumn well and truly set in. I think we're going to have more heavy bouts of rain coming up over next week. We may even have to start thinking about a bout of severe gales as well. The GFS is sort of flirting with that idea at around the day 10, day 11 sort of the time frame. So we'll have a look at all the charts in a moment. Before I get on with that though, just say about the ads. There's links to articles sitting underneath the weather video here on my own page at GazOvids.com. Have a browse through the widget. If any article that you're interested in, make sure you're ever changing. Just click through, you'll be able to go off and read the article when you're finished at GazOvids, of course. And thanks very much for doing that. So let's get on with the video, and we're going to start off with centering temperature to see where we're at. Currently and provisionally we're at 11.8 degrees for October, which is an anomaly, actually very slightly below average, perhaps surprisingly, but we're ever so slightly below average, just 0.2 of a degree below. I think that's going to get a bit of a boost over the next few days, because we're going to get some warmer air coming up from the south at the end of the week and into the weekend, although it will still be very unsettled. Now, these are the 500 millibar height anomaly flow charts for the next 8 to 10 days time. We've got the ECMWF over on the left, the GFS is on the right, 500 millibars, 80,000 feet is an area in the atmosphere where we've got weather taking place, areas of high pressure, low pressure, essentially being moved around by the jet stream running above. Mean flow charts for 8 to 10 days time, so as I say, it's taking us to around the 24th of October, and both the GFS and the ECM are in agreement. We've got quite a deep trough of low pressure just to the north of the country. Both got that. They've both got this ridge sitting to the south through Spain and into the Mediterranean. So it's a very zonal, very westerly type setup. And what's important really is the tight lines that you'll see between the blue and the orange coming right through the country. That's the jet stream. And it's a very strong jet stream being indicated to be pushing through the British Isles, between the trough to the north and the ridge to the south. We've got these very tight lines running across the Atlantic into the British Isles, a strong jet stream that will be bringing bouts of wind and rain across the country, and with such a tight jet stream we could well be having to think, as I said at the start, around about some severe gales perhaps coming along later on. So these are the GFS temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next couple of weeks, dealing with temperatures first of all. The red line here is the 30-year average. We are around average at the moment. We're going to go above average, as I said. We're going to get pushes of warm air from the south coming to the end of the week and into the weekend. So becoming quite warm. Temperatures could perhaps pop up to around 20 degrees down in the south-southeast, around 68 Fahrenheit. There will be rain within that, though, as you can see from all these precipitation spikes. We'll deal with that in a moment. But it's going to get warmer for a time, the end of the week into the weekend. Often does around the 18th, 19th, 20th of October. It's a time where we do often, very often, get a push of warmer air from the south-southwest. It's one of the regular singularities that you tend to find with British weather. But then as we go into next week, we cool off quite quickly, and we see those temperatures dipping back towards the seasonal average, maybe even going a little bit below, though there's a lot of scatter in that, and I think we're bringing in warm sectors and cold sectors, so a bit of a zonal sine wave, if anything, perhaps taking place through the course of next week. At times it could get quite chilly, though, around the 23rd, 24th. That could be on the back side of quite a deep area of low pressure. It could briefly bring down some colder air from the north, but overall we're near normal with the temperatures after this warm push coming up at the end of the week. Now look at all these rainfall spikes coming up. It looks like it could be in for a real deluge over the next couple of weeks. We're actually going to have a slightly drier spell around the middle of this week, so after yesterday's rain it's drying up a bit, so I think tomorrow will be mainly dry in the east anyway, until more rain arrives later on. But after that we really are opening the dam really to the Atlantic. It looks like we're going to be bringing loads of rain through, particularly into next week when it's looking very, very wet there. It could well be, if that came off, it could be a little bit overdone, but if that came off, we could well see some localised flooding next week. The temperature anomaly for the coming week, the 14th to 22nd, is going to be warmer than average, and of course we're getting that push of warm air from the south coming up at the end of the week and into the weekend, so temperatures will be going above average for a few days in those red colours. Notice how warm it is across most of Europe, although winter is lurking up over Russia with all those blue colours up there. The cold air is digging further and further west, and the snow cover is rapidly spreading across Siberia this year. If you're interested in all that sort of thing, I'll be looking at that in more detail on Sunday. The precipitation anomaly for the next week shows it's going to be generally wetter than average, near normal to wetter from the 14th to 22nd. A little bit drier than average, unusually for the far north of Scotland, but most places coming out above average with the rainfall. So here is the situation from the GFS model on Saturday. This is the generic chart, Saturday the 18th of October. There's that warm push of air coming up from the south and southwest, but it's tied in with low pressure, so there's going to be a weather front strung out really through the country, and that'll have ripples of quite heavy rain running along. And then there's very little progress on that as we go through into Sunday, actually. So despite the fact temperatures are pushing up, somewhere could get very, very wet over the weekend. I think we will have a weather front sort of strung out in this sort of zone. There'll be ripples running along, and it stretches down towards the warm waters of the tropical Atlantic, really, or certainly going down towards the Canary Islands anyway. So there'll be ripples of heavy rain running along that front. It'll be the dividing line between the warmth to the south and the east, and the cooler air digging back from the north and the northwest. So you're going to have to watch out for that, although temperatures are getting a boost at the weekend. I think there will still be some very heavy rain in places. We get through to the start of next week. This is Monday 20th, and we've pushed all that warm air out of the way. We've also got rid of the weather front, so we're back into this westerly flow. Then that'll be cooler and it'll be more showery. More areas of low pressure though waiting in the wings in the Atlantic, and they come in really as we go through of course next week. So it's a situation midweek on Wednesday the 22nd, and low pressure to the north of Scotland, high pressure down to the south. We're bringing this flat westerly through with more areas of low pressure, bringing outbreaks of rain at times. Get through to day 10, which is Friday the 24th of October, and yeah, we're still in the same basic pattern. Low pressures to the north around Iceland. Very classic zonal setup, very much what you would expect really for October. Low pressure to the north of Scotland, high pressure down to the southwest, bringing this westerly through. Keep an eye on this area of low pressure developing around Newfoundland. That becomes important a little bit further on. We'll have a look at that at the end of the video. The ECMWF for a week's time, Tuesday the 21st of October, shows again that very flat westerly flow, low pressure to the north of Scotland, bringing westerlies across the country, areas of low pressure downstream through the Atlantic, indicating that there'll be more bouts of rain coming in off the Atlantic Ocean through the course of next week. Going through to day 10, Friday the 24th of October, the East ECMWF bringing another system through across the country, overtaking another bout of wet weather in. And then finally, just going back to the situation beyond day 10, this is what the GFS is seeing for Saturday the 25th of October. So it's quite a way off. It's beyond 10 days away, but it's seeing this very, very deep area of low pressure that started up around Newfoundland, coming in off the Atlantic, really tight packed isobars around it. That's a proper Atlantic storm. That would be our first real autumn storm, autumn and winter storm moving in. Very tightly packed isobars, so severe gales bearing down on the country on Saturday the 25th, and then that low pressure sweeps across the country on Sunday the 26th with these severe gales following along behind. Once again, that's a real autumn winter storm. We'd have to batten down the hatchet with that. There'd be gales or severe gales, a lot of heavy rain as well, and no doubt as this low pressure exits into the North Sea, we could bring briefly some colder air down from the north, which could bring our first sort of snow or wintry showers anyway to Scotland. But it wouldn't last very long, because as soon as that low pressure exits out into the North Sea with the Atlantic in such a buoyant phase, you're just bringing the next area of low pressure through and sort of keep the train going. So very briefly you could get a cold snap as that low pressure pushes off into the North Sea. But the main thing is that it's a very unsettled flow, so the next low pressure will quickly cut off that northerly supply, and you get the next bout of wind and rain coming in. So it looks like we're really in for it over the next couple of weeks. More areas of low pressure are on the way. It's been a wet start to October already. I think we're going to keep it very unsettled, probably for the rest of the month. Actually, you may get a few brief transient ridges, drying it out for a day or two, but overall the Atlantic really is in now, and it looks like we're going to have more bouts of rain, and possibly as we get through towards the end of October, we may have to start thinking about gales or severe gales coming in as well. That's it for now. Thanks for watching. 5 day forecast where I come back. That's all now. Thanks for watching.